Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is our NXT review. And I gotta say, coming at it from my point of view, because anymore, like Ashton and I, we're not on call with each other when NXT is happening, because I like to be totally ignorant on what he's thinking, and I'm sure he appreciates a fresh, kind of clean slate from my perspective. I thought this episode of NXT was a mixed bag. Now, a mixed bag means that there were a lot of good things, like the main event, like Frankie Monet's debut, and really just the women's division in general, given that we do have somebody that we think is a little too green to be holding the championship. It seems like she's going to have a lot of padding for this title reign, which is a positive. And the women, I do think, were a bright spot on this show. But then there were some negatives here. Obviously, I don't care for NXT champion. A little bit strong on the recapping side for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. And we said goodbye to a title reign tonight that, I mean, I knew it was going to have to end eventually. All title reigns do. I just was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be, I don't know, until maybe like the next TakeOver. So that kind of bummed me out a bit. So overall, I would give this NXT a thumbs middle, which I think could be reflected in a score of like a 6.5 out of 10. But Ashton, what do you think about this, man?
I think overall, this NXT had more good than bad on it. The title reign coming to an end, I don't know how to feel about it, because there's a part of me that really is like behind him and like, oh, he deserves better than this. He needs to move up. He needs to, go after world titles instead of cruiserweight titles and stuff like that. But then there's also a part of me that's like, hey, if NXT knew what they had in him, he wouldn't have been in the cruiserweight division in the beginning, in the first place. So I'm a little torn on that, but I think that being the low light of the night, and of course the opening segment with with Cross opening the show, I think those two lowlights are maybe 25 minutes total out of a 2-hour-long show, and I think the rest of the show was anywhere from good to great.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that, man. I think when it comes to Escobar, I think my tweet really sums it up that I had about it. I said, thank you for not just being an astounding cruiserweight champion, the best that title has ever had or will ever have for my money, but for being one of the best performers in the WWE today. This is still your time. This is still your legacy. I want the NXT World title around your waist. I don't know if you'll see that. I hope he does. But yeah, I mean, I wish Kushida well. I really do. I mean that with the utmost sincerity. Just Santos really was just an exemplary champion, and I'm curious where he'll go from here. But with that said, let's get to our first segment, Heat of the Night. And, my qualms with NXT aside, I don't think it warrants taking up space in this first segment. Do you have any heats of the night tonight?
Not if we're avoiding being repetitive, no.
Okay. Then we're going to, well, first of all, let us get into our NXT review. And we're just going to skip that opening segment because it was just Cross talking shit now that he's regained the title. Then we get a Stand and Deliver recap. Nothing really much to say there. Then we get MSK versus Maverick and Dane. Solid opening match for the NXT Tag Team titles, I might add.
Bro, can I say, I don't know how new it is, but I love the heavy metal remix of their theme song, because it's still like the cutesy Disney whistling song, but it's got hard metal as an intro and playing behind it now. It's hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, man. I'm vibing with it. Weird that the crowd was booing MSK. I'm not going to look too deeply into it. No. And let's just hope, that they can get that babyface momentum back, in the weeks into their title reign. Ultimately, MSK does win here with the elevated blockbuster double team. I guess the bigger story here is after the match, Imperium does assault Killian Dane. So I guess they're going to be feuding with Maverick and Dane now. Don't really care. It really is amazing.
This is probably just going to end up being one of those feuds where every time they have a segment that doesn't involve people we like, we just skip it.
Yeah, it really is, man. Because, it's amazing how one or two, because I haven't really abandoned hope that Thatcher might join Imperium. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, Walter just makes the faction.
Yeah.
I like Bartel, and I want to see what more Bartel has to offer. But so long as he's in this team, Wolf does nothing for me. And, Fabian Eichner, I don't think he's bad in the ring. The guy just doesn't have any presence to me. Walter is just the complete package in every sense of the word. So they're clearly going to be having beef with Dane and Maverick. That's whatever. Then we get Robert Stone brand, because Robert Stone wants to get Jessi Kamea and Aaliyah an NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match because that was the original match until Kamea got injured. Then Mercedes comes in. She's still looking for that other half of the payment. I do appreciate the continuity here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that was like a storyline that I think was like maybe 2, maybe even 3 weeks old. And they picked it up again like, where's the rest of my money? And Jessi Kamea actually steps to Mercedes, and that's how we get a match between those two tonight. What do you think about this segment, man? You got anything you want to say about this?
It was one of those things where, like, power level wise, we knew that Jessi didn't really stand much of a chance against Mercedes, but I was still really impressed. And I think that this segment did a really good job of kind of showing Jessi's presence. We were just talking about how little presence Fabian Eichner has. Jessi has a lot of it. And I think that her stepping to Mercedes Martinez, if you didn't already have an intimate knowledge of NXT, and if you didn't already know that Jessi was very low on the totem pole and Mercedes was much higher up, you would believe that. Like, you would fully believe, like, oh shit, this girl looks like she could actually take this badass woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you completely on your assessment.
So I was actually really impressed.
Yeah.
Her confidence. So yeah, I was happy about this.
Then we get the way backstage in an interview. Johnny says the 8-person mixed tag is Cuckoo Bananas. He's just kind of run away with that.
Do I have my notes up?
Oh, no, I misread my own notes. I apologize. Actually, we get Roderick Strong arriving at NXT. We could just put a nice little bow on this and hand it all together. It seems like Roderick has handed William his resignation, because in a later segment, he's in Regal's office. He gives him a vanilla envelope, and he's like, I'm done. He's like, are you sure? Now, I know you messaged me on Facebook, and I didn't want to answer right away. I kind of wanted to let the question breathe. You think we see Roddy Friday? I don't know, is my honest answer. I really don't know. In fact, dude, if you want me to be truthful, I'm not even 1,000% convinced he is fully done with NXT. And I only say that because here's the thing. Earlier in the show, because I'm kind of like mashing these segments together, obviously, we get exclusive footage from the unsanctioned match between Cole and O'Reilly. Cole doesn't seem like he's done in NXT because he keeps saying, Kyle, you son of a bitch. I think he might have even tried calling him like a piece of shit, but it got censored. He says, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. Yeah. So Cole doesn't even seem to be done with NXT. And if that wasn't a fucking send-off, dude, I give up. I really do. I give up. I have convinced myself that Cole has gone the Ciampa route, that NXT is the brand he identifies with. He doesn't play into the whole call-up business. This is my brand. I'm building this brand. I want to be an ace of this brand. That, I'm convinced now. So you're never going to hear me again, guys, say, oh, hope Adam Cole gets called up, because after that, he's still going to be feuding with O'Reilly, which is going to be very interesting to see. So I'm
How
not
do
even
you continue a feud after an unsanctioned match like that?
Dude, well, I mean, to be fair, Ciampa and fucking Gargano did, because the unsanctioned match was only their first matchup in that feud.
Wait, wasn't the unsanctioned match after Gargano had been kicked out of NXT for him to get his job back?
Well, yeah, but then remember they did the last man standing match for the championship,
Jesus
and I think they did.
Christ.
Yeah, dude, there were a lot more matches so
right.
This clearly wasn't a feud ender, but to circle it back around to what we were talking about, I can't even be fully convinced that Roderick is done with NXT. I think SmackDown's the perfect place for him, because that seems to be more the workhorse brand a little bit, because it's got, Bryan and Kevin Owens Cesaro. And Nakamura, Cesaro. So it would seem a perfect fit for Roderick. And especially because I'll say this too, Apollo Crews being the new IC champion, you get a babyface Roderick Strong feuding with Apollo. I think some of those matches could be fucking bangers.
He'd honestly be the perfect fodder to just job to Apollo for 2 or 3 months at the beginning of his reign.
Well, yeah, Roderick Strong would be the perfect legitimizer for Apollo Crews. Yeah. If they didn't want Big E eating another L or whatever, and they wanted Big E to kind of do his own thing, you get Roderick in there. It's perfect. So let me ask you to answer your own question. Do you think we're going to see Roderick Friday, or are you unsure I am?
I mean, well, dude, I'm way more optimistic about this shit than you tend to be. So I think that this is the last we'll see of Roderick in NXT. I think, dude, I've felt like Roderick, specifically Roderick and Adam, have been ready for the main roster since like 2018, maybe 19 at the latest. Like,
Yeah.
especially Roderick too, because like Roderick, the fact that, and I guess maybe this is just me letting a booking decision way too much in my head. But like the fact that Roderick won a triple threat with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura on Survivor Series a couple of years ago, how the fuck have you not called him up yet? But now that Undisputed Era has been dissolved, it makes that much more sense for him to get called up by himself and not as a part of a group.
Yeah. I can definitely see where you're coming from, man. It just kind of shocks me that they're going to continue the Cole O'Reilly feud, again, based on that exclusive footage. And if Roderick goes to SmackDown, dude, Roderick's that perfect tool player because you can slide him right into the Intercontinental title picture, not miss a beat. And if you wanted to build him up for like a one-match program with a world champion, he's believable in that role too.
Absolutely.
Like, I really think, and it's funny because, I mean, the guy's still active. He's with AEW. But I really think it's WWE's, like, Christian 2.0 in a way. I see Roderick exactly
Dude, that is the perfect comparison to me.
Yeah. Like, you could slot him into any spot. He's a workhorse. He'll make it work.
Yep.
And, yeah, so big ups to Roddy if he is.
I just hope that before Bryan retires, we get the Roddy versus Bryan singles program.
That would be incredible. Yeah, I think Roddy can do so much on SmackDown. So I hope you're right personally, because I'm really you already know.
I hope I'm right too, and for more reasons than just being right.
Exactly. And again, we're not going to try and be repetitive on this podcast, so you guys already know how I feel about UE and all that stuff. And please leave a like, guys, if you can. We already have 2 dislikes, and I have no idea how the hell that happened.
Oh my God, I hate
so, yeah, we'd greatly appreciate it. So getting back on track. We already talked about the unsanctioned matches of footage. So then we get Martinez versus Kamea. And what do you think about this match, man? I'm going to let you take the ball on this.
I mean, it was pretty short. It really isn't too much to write home about. It was all right, I guess. There's nothing really worth pointing out. I know Mercedes won with her Fisherman Buster, and that's about it. That's the only note I had.
Yeah, and then she shakes down Robert Stone for the rest of the money. And then she looks at the...
This was such an awkward moment, dude. Why was she shouting at Vic Joseph?
You know, they do that sometimes on NXT. I feel like they do that sometimes just in WWE in general. Like, when they want to make a point to a champion or whatever, it's like, hey, I know you're watching, probably on an even tinier monitor than what they're working with. I'm coming for you, so-and-so. And it's like, okay. I mean, I dig it. Mercedes getting back in the title picture is definitely welcome, but, you know.
If you're going to scream out a challenge to a champion, do it into a camera, not in a fucking commentator's face.
Yeah. Agreed, but, you know, it was what it was, I guess. Then we get the way backstage.
Yes.
Johnny thinks this whole 8 mixed person tag is cuckoo bananas, as I started to say before I way jumped the gun. He's just taken that phrase and run with it. And, you know,
I genuinely feel myself starting to use that phrase in real life situations at some point.
How does that feel?
I'll tell you when I do it.
Okay. Johnny's excited because this is the first time that all of the way are tagging in the same match. Theory says, you know, he's put Dexter Lumis, you know, behind him, like his whole confused feelings, like he's ready to take care of Dexter Lumis. And Indy says, you know, I hope I get tagged in so I can take care of my business with Lumis. Everybody kind of shoots her a glance.
Indy Hartwell being horny on Maine yet again.
Yeah, Index got some major progression, everybody, so we'll get to that in the main event. And yeah, the way, just getting all fired up, and they're like, all right, everybody hands in. You too, Mackenzie. Get your hands in. The way, yeah, so.
That wasn't awkward at all. What do you mean?
Yeah, I really don't know how Johnny came all the way back around to making me smile and just enjoying him, but the motherfucker did it, so I'm glad he's enjoying himself.
I think that's what happens when somebody gets a meme made out of them and then they embrace the meme.
Yes.
That's pretty much what the fucking God, what was their name? Absolution? No, that was the girls. Ascension. That's what happened to the Ascension. They were a fucking meme and then they embraced it and they got super over.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. we then get a segment from inside Swerve's lab making that music.
Oh,
you know,
God, I love Swerve. Swerve, let me just put this. Let me just say this. You will be hearing from Swerve most likely multiple times on Thursday.
Yes. Yes.
On my lists.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Whose house? Swerve's house.
Yeah.
And he lets...
in my heart.
Oh my God. Do you need a minute? That was beautiful.
I just love Swerve. He's just so fucking good. He's just wonderful, okay?
He deserves the world, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
We stan our Lucha Underground alumni, okay?
We do. We really, really fucking do. And yeah, Swerve more or less says, like, look, Leon, I'm done with you. After tonight, it's over. And of course, he touts himself, as he should, for his performance at TakeOver, until Bronson Reed had to go and ruin everything, as per the usual. And so Swerve is feeling immensely confident that he can beat Leon Ruff tonight, and he does promote their match tonight. So yeah, this is a great little segment for Swerve. Then we get the fucking king, Santos Escobar. Now, my ribs are in pain, so I'm not going to do the whole bit here.
You want me to?
Sure, take it away.
Santos Escobar.
Excellent. Nice troll there at the very end. 5 out of 5. So, yeah, he comes out, starts to talk, says that, you know, he's a fighting champion, like his father before him, and like his son will be after him. I love that he's talking about the whole legacy thing.
Yes.
And, God, that line honestly made me pop. And you know what? The only reason it made me pop is because I'm sure the kid, even though he's still very young and minds change, we'll just have to see what happens. He seems down with the idea. He seems all about the business.
Oh, dude, he wants to beat Dr. Wagner Jr.'s ass for unmasking his dad.
Yeah, the kid's already immortal.
The fucking throat slit. Do you remember that?
Yes, that GIF will live forever. So Escobar, I mean, look, let's take it down a bit and let's talk some facts, because Escobar was spitting facts on the mic. He said a year ago, this was a championship of an all but forgotten division. Facts. Then he happened, and we're talking takeovers, main events, and even though he doesn't say this explicitly, I'll say it, legitimacy. Facts.
Yes.
Shout out to Tyson Kidd, who apparently produced Bianca versus Sasha. We stand TJ in this household. We love you so much.
Genius motherfucker.
Dude, yes. Yes. So Santos is feeling himself as he should, because I did the math and I double checked it with Mark, and he's 100% man. Goddamn. And he's like, okay, we're going to do an open challenge. And before he could even get the words out, Kushida answers. And so we get Kushida versus Escobar. Funny thing is, you and I were thinking about this. We knew this match was inevitable. I worried about it. I'm sure a lot of other people worried about it. It was a great back-and-forth match. Escobar got caught for 3 seconds in that pin sequence. He was apoplectic after, but Kushida is the new Cruiserweight champion. And again, I say sincerely, thank you, Escobar, for being the best thing to happen to the Cruiserweight division, because that was the most that it's ever had my attention. And I'm sure I can say the same for you, too. And I'm going to say to Kushida, or say about Kushida, the same thing Julia said to Tam when the changing of that guard happened. You know, keep up the work that I did. Julia got the white belt in main event. She got it in a nice place of prominence. She expects the same of Tam. Not working out too well right now, but, you know, I'm sure Tam will find her footing eventually. I hope Kushida can bring the same level of credibility and prestige to the Cruiserweight title that Escobar did in his 320-day reign.
See, here's my thing about this title change and why I'm not apoplectic about it, all right? When Kushida was the ace of the junior division over in New Japan, that junior division outgrew him really quickly. It was absolutely stacked. You had Sho, you had Ospreay at the time, you had Ricochet at the time, you had Ishimori, you had ELP. It was an insanely, and even Desperado, and Hiramu, of course, Hiramu. the division outgrew him. It got to the point that him holding the title all the time was a detriment to the division because only having one type of match represent the junior division on every single pay-per-view. And you know what I'm talking about when I say only one type of match. There's only one type of Kushida match. He's only wrestled one type of way pretty much his entire career, as far as I know, or at least the last 6 years of it. It hampers the whole division. It makes the whole division feel very monotone and very samey, and in my opinion, very boring. In this case, though, I am okay with it because I know that Kushida has genuinely been getting better as an overall performer in NXT. He's not as selfish of a performer, in my opinion, as he was in New Japan. He doesn't no-sell shit the way that he used to in New Japan. Like, we can't forget, this dude literally took fucking powder to the face, completely no-sold it, and hit a small package driver to win a match within a minute or two of getting the powder to the face in New Japan. Like, he is nowhere near as overpowered now as he was in New Japan. He isn't as obnoxious as he was in New Japan. And even though, yeah, he does still do the counter shit, I actually like that they kind of teased tonight that Dunn might actually still go after him for that title because of the fact that he beat him at TakeOver, and now Dunn said in a promo tonight he's after gold.
That's true. That's true. We already know that the trash heap has his eyes on Kushida because in a segment, not immediately after this, but
oh, that trash heap. There are so many in NXT. I wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
Fair points. But yeah, he's like, oh, who'd he ever beat? Like, I hated that he almost buried the match that they had. Yeah. And he's like, oh, just because you climb up ladders and make a better wrestler. In that context, it literally fucking did. Shut the fuck up. Sorry. So we know
you gotta watch your ribs, man. You gotta watch your ribs.
I know. Ooh. So we know that he's coming for Kushida. Dunn, Kushida 2 sounds like an interesting matchup. Really, it's always about, like, okay, you're here, what can you make of it, and then who's going to come after you. Escobar did what he could. Now, here's what's going to make me okay with it, because I more or less am. You notice I didn't rant. I wished Kushida well, and I meant it. You need to elevate Escobar now, though. Like,
exactly.
He just had a monster run. But see, here's where it's complicated, Ashton. I don't know how you do it in this present landscape because Johnny Gargano is still clearly a heel, even if he is a comedic heel, and the fucking NXT champion is Karrion Kross, and I don't need to see him, like, fucking bury Escobar again. So...
No, I still think you could do Escobar Gargano without having a problem, because that's, like, both guys are likable heels. Both guys, like, you can pick a side with that, Like, it's not a clear-cut face versus heel dynamic, but it's ambiguous enough on both sides that people will still choose a side. We'll get dueling chants in the match, that kind of thing. I think that still works.
Well, bro, if that's the case, I'm telling you, I've loved Gargano's work. I have praised him many times. He's done a 180 with me personally, recently, the last couple of months. But if that match happens, I'm 1,000% rooting for Escobar. This dude is still every bit as fucking good as we always say that he is. Yep. He's just got new gold to go after. So... a fitting end to a title reign. And I will give the match itself credit. It really does protect Escobar because it was a pin exchange and Escobar he got caught. That's really what it was. He didn't get decisively beaten. He didn't tap out to the hoverboard lock, which I will tell you, I probably would have made it a full-blown heat of the night if it was more of a decisive win for Kushida. Because, I think after what Escobar went through winning that ladder match, which, again, does fucking matter, even if some fucking assholes don't think that it does. It's nice that they protected him and be like, okay, well, we're not just going to completely flush that credibility by just having somebody straight up out wrestle you. You're just going to get caught here. Move on to the next thing. Yeah. So, I love Santos. I can't wait to see what's next. Hopefully it is the NA Championship. We shall see. Ciampa and Thatcher, God, it's so funny. Like, I've really just grown to hate Tommaso Ciampa, honestly. Because, like, even his promo style, which I used to be just, fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Not enamored, but, enraptured by. Enthralled. Hypnotized by, I guess I will say. I feel like I was entranced, I think. Entranced is the word I was looking for. Entranced by. And that one just kind of annoys me. Because he tries to puff his chest out like he's a badass. And this whole thing where, like, he can't just keep a chair in place. And he's always going to knock the chair over like, ooh, scary. Look how intense I am. This chair flipped over. It's like, dude, you're such a fucking tryhard. Jesus Christ. So him and Thatcher pretty much talking about the changing landscape of NXT, as boomers do. They don't like change, so they have to talk about the change that's happening. And they're trying to decide what championship to go after. Will they go after the NXT tag titles or the world title? But it does seem like they want to make this tag team work. They call out MSK. God, I really thought this would elevate Thatcher. If anything, this has just made Thatcher more meh. Like, I feel like he's so much better than this tag team. I'm not really feeling it like I thought I would.
The whole time that they're in the match with MSK, I'm going to be rooting for Thatcher to turn on Ciampa and go leave and just go join Imperium and team up with Barthel.
Yeah. And by the way, the last few chat comments, I really agree with them, but especially Foster's relevant to what we're talking about. He said Ciampa has done nothing to evolve himself over the past several years, unlike Gargano, and that's 100% correct.
Isn't it strange how everything works in, like, a circle? Like, everything's cyclical. Like, for the longest time, like, I was a huge fan of Tommaso Ciampa on the Indies, and then when he and Gargano both came to NXT, we were both really high on Gargano. And we were like, oh, man, he's the next Daniel Bryan. He's the next Sami Zayn. He's, like, next in that lineage. And then once Ciampa had his heel turn, we were both super high on him, and it was Daddy Ciampa, and he was this amazing heel, and he had no theme song, and he came out to the sound of the crowd booing, and it was legendary. And then there was a point in time that we just weren't really high on either one of them, and now Johnny has made a complete 180 for the better, and Ciampa has made a complete 180 for the worse. Like, we are on completely polar opposite ends of the spectrum with them now.
Yeah, I admired your scalp, you bastard. Fuck you. God. All right, well, mistakes were made, but we learn and grow, right? Yeah. Anyway, after that, let's see, where do my notes say we are? Oh, yeah, Kushida with the trash heap, fuck that. Then we get Raquel Gonzalez's segment. I practically want to skip this, too, because, she's got the whole QAnon shit. But there actually was a heartwarming moment here. Rhea comes out to congratulate her, and Bianca comes out to congratulate them both. So we've been kind of talking about, and especially been talking about on Twitter, that this trio... They started in NXT, they were kind of a clique, and now they're holding the major titles. They more or less run this. Man, I feel bad for Dakota Kai, though, because she's been the ride or die Raquel, which Raquel acknowledged in her promo, pretty much saying that this is her era now. But
yeah, dude, honestly, I was really happy that Raquel gave Dakota her fair due, and that she didn't use this as an opportunity to attack her and turn heel. Or turn super heel.
Yeah, I love that we can actually have relationships, even if there is an asymmetry in those relationships in terms of success. Raquel clearly, objectively, has been more successful than Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
I feel like New Day was kind of the blueprint for how you do that and how you make it work. And I'd like to see that normalized. Not saying that I don't want to see tag teams get backstabbed anymore. The way Cole portrayed O'Reilly and everything he cared about was delicious. I still laugh thinking about it. But it's also nice when you see friendships stay together and show that not every relationship has to be a toxic one. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how
that's the message, right? Not every relationship has to be a toxic one, but some can still be.
Yes. Otherwise, what would wrestling be? Emotionally aware? Fuck that. All right, so Raquel pretty much sent a message, but wait, can't jump the gun, because the most important thing happened in this segment, Frankie Monet's debut.
Yes.
How do we feel about this, brother?
The theme song's a little weird. Wasn't what I expected. It was weird too because it's like they said bougie and bad instead of bad and bougie, which is like an actual song that just came out a few years ago. Was actually really popular at the time. But she looked great.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, we know she can talk. She's great at talking. We've seen that plenty of times in Lucha Underground, and if you paid attention to her Impact run there too. And I think the worst thing about this segment is how quickly we moved on from the debut of Frankie Monet, how quickly she got kind of overshadowed by, Rhea and then Bianca. I feel like they didn't really give Frankie Monet time to breathe.
I can appreciate the three of them coming together and celebrating. I almost wonder... because I don't want to step on Bianca's toes either come Friday, because I'm curious what she'll do, and I'm sure Sasha will have something to say. But, I'm just thinking, you could have done this maybe at a different time. I don't know, because I do agree with you. They did a great job hyping up Frankie, with the vignettes and everything. And then it's just like, oh, we got to move on from this, whatever. But she did say, hey, you'll be seeing me every Tuesday. So, like, she's...
Well, and that was kind of... that might be one thing that they could have done to make up for the fact that they moved on so quickly from her, was maybe after this segment, put up a graphic that says Frankie Monet versus an opponent next week. Like, maybe, I don't know, fucking Aaliyah or something. But just give her something to remind you, like, oh, yeah, by the way, even though that stuff was cool... Frankie Monet is actually a part of this brand, and she will be competing for the first time on this date. Maybe it even is next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me ask you, brother. Let's open this up just a little bit, because I think you do make some salient points. And we do know that Sarray is debuting next week. So
yeah,
happening.
When did that play? Do you have that in your notes?
I do. That played very late in the show. Well, actually, no, I guess not too late, because actually... Pete Dunne had his promo after Raquel's segment, and then Saray's whole vignette where, like, Japanese starts talking about herself. That played. Nice. So I know I am kind of jumping the gun a tad, but I like broach that because one Javaris did bring it up in chat, and I think that brings up a larger point. Given how they handled this, and given that Saray is debuting next week, do you worry about Frankie getting lost in the shuffle?
Yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's two reasons why I'm not so worried. One, I don't know why, and don't ask me why, because I wouldn't have a good answer for you. I just have a gut feeling, it is one of those, that Saray and Io might be doing, like, tag division stuff for the women's tag titles just to kind of beef up the competition for Ember and Shotzi. Because they're such a stacked team. I really can't bind any team together right now to beat them.
I hope you're wrong, but I could absolutely see them going there.
Yeah. Okay, so you at least understand my sentiment.
If for no other reason, just to get Saray better acclimated to NXT. Like, kind of the way, Xia Li helped Kyrie, and then they both helped Io kind of work her way into the system. I could see them wanting to stick Saray with another Japanese woman that has the same experience as her, prior to coming to NXT, to help her get acclimated to NXT.
Right. So that's one reason why I'm not too worried about Frankie. I think the other reason, too, we know what a great performer Frankie, formerly known as Taya, is. I think if you just keep giving her the mic and you give her time, like, her own talent is going to make sure she doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Mm. So I am confident in her, and I don't think Saray is going to be rushed, even though I'm so excited for her. And we'll talk about her. Yeah,
that's kind of the interesting thing about Saray is they take their time with the Japanese talent, right? Like,
yeah.
Asuka, I don't even remember when she debuted, but I feel like it took her a good, 7 or 8 months to win the world title. I think Kyrie had the shortest path to the world title among the three big ones. Io felt like she took forever to win the world title.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Saray, when she does finally win the NXT Women's title, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it was Frankie herself that she was taking it off of.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So.
I'm very excited for Saray. I think she's going to be fantastic. NXT even kind of touted their history of Japanese women's wrestlers, and I think she's going to be a great division. I think Frankie's going to be awesome, and really, here's the thing: I am so grateful we have got these women coming in, because I think it's going to make the Raquel title reign overall a lot more palatable. At least that's my hope. So we'll have to see what happens. But yes, we are in the Raquel Gonzalez era. And we also know that Zoe Stark and Mercedes, everybody is eyeing Raquel. And that's the kind of title reign she needs to have for it to be compelling, is for her, because she's such an obstacle, for her to be hunted by everybody. And I'm glad NXT is kind of going that route.
Feels like open season. It's like when Io was champ, everyone got their shot and everyone fell. But now that a new person holds that title, everyone that lost to Io feels like they can get the job done again against the new champ.
Yeah, exactly. So after this, we get the Pete Dunne promo that you kind of touched on, saying that, now that he beat Kushida at TakeOver, he's got his focus back where it belongs, on Championship Gold. And so, we can expect Dunne in some kind of title picture in the future. I don't know which one. I said to you that If they try and play Cross as more of a tweener, which I can 100% see as a possibility, I could see Dunn being his first challenger.
Yep.
Dunn could also go after Kushida. That's 100% viable. We will have to see.
I really thought that O'Reilly would be Cross's first challenger after beating Adam, but no, it seems like that's still happening. They're still going to continue that once guys get back from the stretchers.
Yeah, Cole from his stretcher. I'm going to kill you, Kyle. I'm going to kill you.
You're going to die!
Oh, Adam, why are you so angry? God, I'd say that he has a short fuse, but I know what everybody's going to do with that. So, instead, we can just move on. Instead, we're just going to move on after Courage's laugh there. We already talked about Sarray.
Did I do the Courage laugh? Oh, my God.
Well, kind of. It wasn't full-blown, but you definitely were feeling yourself. So, yeah, we already talked about Sarray debuting next week. Going to be very interesting. William Regal segment, Roddy handing him his walking papers, presumably. We already kind of touched on that. Then we get Leon Ruff versus Swerve. What did you think about this match, man? Seeing your boy
Dude,
Swerve.
this match was kind of nuts, actually. They did some crazy shit in this match. Like, Ruff was all over the goddamn place. He was jumping all over the place, doing fucking cutters, doing fucking Ranas and Frankensteiners and dives and shit. These guys were both fired up. I really enjoyed this match. Lots of fun. And yeah, Swerve. Finally, we get to watch Swerve actually win a match on NXT TV. And not only does he win, but he doesn't even have to cheat. He wins with a JML driver, just straight up wins.
Yeah, I liked how competitive this match was. Like legitimately competitive. Because, I'm getting tired of the whole Leon Ruff, like, oh, he's an underdog. Oh, what an upset. Like, bruh, like, he's a former NXT North American champion. Let's stop playing that angle. And I don't mind him being sympathetic. Like, oh, this guy can get his ass beat, but he can dish it out just as much. But don't act like it's almost like borders on charity case to me. So I like that they played this straight. It's like, nah, this is a really hyper-competitive matchup. I really dug the back and forth. The finish was sick. I mean, again, I am never going to pass up a JML driver. And, yeah, Swerve gets the win. After that, we get the Zoe Stark interview. She talks about, if you would have told me that only a few months ago working in Vegas that I was going to be on the biggest takeover ever and I was going to face one of the best women's wrestlers ever in Toni Storm, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well, not only did you face her, but you beat her. How did she not mention that?
I know, right? Yeah, she didn't even mention that she won. I would have been boasting about that from the jump. And she says she's got her sights set on the ultimate goal. And next to the championship, Mercedes interrupts her and says, more or less, that's not happening because I'm going to be the next NXT Women's Champion. And, why are you interviewing her, this rookie, instead of interviewing me? And Zoe's like, oh, well, we'll see about that. So Zoe versus Mercedes, I wouldn't even be surprised if it happened next week. Because the only thing we know for sure that's happening next week is Kyle O'Reilly is returning to NXT.
And Sarray is debuting.
And Sarray is debuting, yes. Thank you for that. So, yeah, after that, Walter Vignette talking about the dominance and just restoring dignity to the mat because the mat is sacred. Yes, Daddy Walter, you've been champion. Dude, when he said 2 years, it still doesn't feel real. 2 fucking years that man has been champion. Good luck, everybody else. Swerve tries
that's the only reason it feels real to me, just because who the fuck's going to beat him? He could have said 5 years, and I would have been like, yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, it's like, you do you, bro. You do you. You want something? No, I don't. Maybe they do, but I don't. Have fun another 5 years. But yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Break Bruno's record.
Yeah, exactly. Swerve tries to get interviewed backstage. Ruff actually attacks him and lays him out. I actually dug this, because to go back to my preceding point, it's like, finally, some character, like, everybody's evolving past Ciampa. And Ciampa's like, what was that? Goddamn all this
shit. If anything, Ciampa's devolving.
Exactly.
Ciampa's over here like, wait, what? You mean I used to be entertaining? What was I doing? That was such a mistake. I was a heel. Why would a heel ever be entertaining? I need to be like 2009 Randy Orton.
I'm receding into my own gray hairs.
I was going to say, you certainly are receding into a hairline because you don't fucking have one.
I'm glad you got to be a part of it, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ruff lays out Swerve, and you know what? I dig this. I do, because, like, finally, this dude has had enough. And he's like, it's not over until I say it's over. And the referees, of course, because they're the most useless job, like, kayfabe-wise, in the business. Hey, Ruff, what's the matter with you? Get out of here. He just holds it up like, hey, man, I'm good. I got mine tonight. See you next week.
Yeah, that was genuinely hilarious when he was backing off and he was just like, I'm good.
Yeah. That. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I really do feel that Leon, oddly enough, I think has all the tools to make my Fave 5. They just got to put it together for him, and maybe this is the fucking feud to do it. Because he's finally flexing, and honestly, like, I couldn't help but grin seeing that. I'm like, oh, damn, boy's got tricks. I see how it is. Fucking jump and swerve from behind. All right, our main event. Oh my God, so much happened here, but I'm going to let you take the reins on this one because I'm very curious what you thought about this main event. I know you said early on in our review that it was great, so I know that you enjoyed it. What do you have to say about this?
NXT needs to do more intergender stuff more often because this was hilarious. This was great. This was fun. I don't really have any negative adjectives to describe this. This was just really, really good stuff. We had lots of interactions. I think at one point Shotzi did something to Theory, I want to say, and Wade Barrett. That is one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight and really just get a temperature on. Is it just me, or were Barrett and Phoenix both really off their game tonight and stumbling over their words a bunch?
A bit. I'll be honest, I didn't take too much note of it.
I feel like they were both all over the place and stumbling over their words a lot and stuff, but yeah, like Paul even said, that this main event felt like a house show match, and it was a lot of fun. Like, that's my thing. NXT, if you're not going to have a championship match or a number one contendership match main event your shows, I will never complain about a fun, fast-paced house show style main event. I love this shit. This was so fun.
Yeah, this was, really inspired spots here. Candace's through the ropes DDT to Loomis, I thought was great. Obviously, the big climax leading up to the finish, the Eclipse off of Bronson Reed's shoulders onto Theory was executed perfectly. Perfectly. And I hate to give the fucking trash in Austin Theory any credit. He did sell it well, so I'll give him credit on that. Obviously, everything with Indy and Dexter Loomis was gold. And honestly, it gave me hope that maybe the way isn't done with Loomis, although I will admit, see, and this is where I get annoyed, in a positive way this time, but it's still a problem, like, where is the constancy here? Because last I checked, it seemed like LA Knight, even though I don't mind him not being on my TV, and Dexter Loomis were going to feud. So it's not about like, oh man, you know,
maybe they still are. Maybe like we'll see Loomis next week and Knight will attack him then.
Maybe, yeah, it's just... It was weird because I kind of expected him to do a run-in and give the way a person advantage in this. Didn't happen. Again, pleasantly surprised that it didn't because I really liked what we got far more than that. Because Indy, this whole time, like, she had a few interactions. She was going in for a kiss at one point. You know, she was on the apron and Loomis was kind of looking at her. And then Candace rips her off the apron. No. Like, Candace was such a mom here. It was great. I already talked about Candace doing the DDT and then just kind of standing over Loomis and being like, you stay away from her. You stay away from her. And then the kind of crescendo of this, Indy's laying, pretending to be like passed out, trying to get Loomis, you know, to care for her. He's looking at her at one point. And then Theory kind of hits like what looks like a Shining Wizard or whatever, or maybe like a knee strike or whatever.
I thought it was just Loomis. A drop kick, honestly.
Yeah, it could have been a drop kick. And Indy gets annoyed and she throws Theory over the top rope. And then she lays down again closer to the apron. And then when Loomis carries her off, she looks at the camera, thumbs us up, and gives a wink. And I'm just like, I'm done. It
legendary. Truly legendary.
Like, you know now that they're going to do a similar thing with Indy that they did with Austin when this whole thing started, where it's like, where's Indy Hartwell kind of thing. And I'm really curious what's going to happen there. Are they going to go back to therapy when they find her? Are they going to find her? You know, is Indy just going to completely be on the side of Loomis? Like, sorry, this isn't the way for me. I choose, you know, Dexter or whatever. I'm curious where they're going to go with this. I really am.
I hope they get married.
I do too. It's pro wrestling. It's pro wrestling. If you're
ever going to do another pro wrestling wedding, I hate pro wrestling weddings, but if you're ever going to do another one, do one for Index.
Yeah. And honestly, Foster, I agree because they are so that faction. He said, I need a segment where the Way has Loomis over for dinner to see if they approve of Loomis. Fuck yeah. Like, they are so that faction to do that, and I'd 100% buy it. And Loomis wouldn't even touch his food. He would either just be on his sketch pad, or he would just be staring a hole through Johnny the entire time. I'd probably prefer the latter just because of how unnerving it is. But yeah, Yeah, this is pro fucking wrestling, baby. If you're not looking to make the cheese just at fucking maximum with angles like this, you're doing it wrong. Oh my God, Foster again. Yes, if they get married, have Rick Boogs be Loomis's best man. Yes, I love that. What I really love about this the most, though, to be just a bit more serious for a sec, is it does keep Loomis associated with the way, which by extension means he's associated with the North American title.
Which makes me wonder if he's now going to decide to use Indy to get to Johnny.
And, as a former, slowly rehabilitated scumbag, he should. He should absolutely use this woman and her vulnerability to get what he wants, and then when he does, he should throw her to the curb, leaving her to work out her broken feelings and her psychic trauma. So that's just
would that be a heel turn for him, or is she enough of a heel in the way, enough of a heel faction to kind of withstand that and stay heel in the face of that?
I think society would look at Loomis as the heel, but I look at it as, if you're a winner, can you be anything other than a babyface? I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm just a guy, man. That's all I'm doing.
That was the most Trumpian thing you've ever said in your life.
Probably. So yeah, I hope that happens. I really hope that happens. And look, he doesn't even have to be malevolent about it. Maybe it could be a similar thing with Austin Theory, where it's like the way manipulates Indy, and then we don't have to worry about that because they're still remaining the heels because they're using the tactics, right? And then Loomis is just like, oh well, I'm just going to beat Johnny anyway and take the title. Regardless, I want Loomis to be the next North American champion. Like that's the freaking goal here. If it's not going to be Tyler Rust, or if it's not going to be Swerve because they're heels, then Loomis is the best babyface by far to put that title on. Not you, Bronson. Not you. You need to simmer down with your tsunami bullshit.
Low key, now knowing that Loomis is still interacting with Gargano, and more specifically just the way in general, it makes me even happier that Reed got his title shot out of the way and lost, because now that kind of clears the way for Loomis to get a shot and win.
Indeed it does. I mean, now granted, I don't know if Bronson's completely left the picture, because he does get the winning pin for this tag match after really Theory just eats everything, because he gets gourd buster, the receiving end of a gourd buster. Johnny gets launched by Bronson. Same thing happens with Candice. Foster, I was going to do that, but I'm honestly just glad that you did. And then after fucking Theory eats both Gargano and Candice, eats their momentum coming off the top from that height, then Reed hits Theory with the tsunami, gets the pin. Really hope that Bronson Reed doesn't get a rematch, but I'm afraid that he will. I just want Dexter Loomis to be the next North American champion, not Bronson Reed. He bore the shit out of me. No, pass. Dexter Loomis would be a really fun champion, and I think you could do a lot with that. So, fun main event. Put a smile on my face because Dexter Loomis fans rejoice. I think our dreams haven't died on the table just yet.
Yep.
And, yeah. And Javaris just said, I want Loomis to beat Gargano and eventually drop it to Santos Escobar, and then he did rolls R's. But yeah, that sounds great to me. That sounds like a great lineage for the North American Championship. I'm afraid to say
I wouldn't even be disappointed if Loomis won it from Gargano, then dropped it to Reed, then Reed dropped it to fucking Swerve, and then Swerve dropped it to Escobar.
That is pretty immaculate lineage there. Although, if I'm truthful, just to kind of rain on this parade, if Loomis does win, I could 100% see LA Knight being the next North American champion after Loomis.
Yes, unfortunately. I mean, dude, I'm surprised LA Knight hasn't won the North American champion by now already.
Yeah, with how they kind of position him and how he presents himself, I thought he was going to have a meteoric rise to a title.
They basically book him the way that they booked Roman Reigns when he was in NXT back in 2012 or whatever.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how it goes, but I'm just really happy to see that Loomis is not done with the way and that they haven't forgotten about the storyline. So with that said, let's get on to our next segment, high spots and low shots. Probably the most respectful low shot I've ever given. I got to give it to Escobar. His 320-day title reign came to an end.
Why'd you stop? Let me be in pain without stopping for me.
No. And he got caught. And, yeah, look in the mirror, sir. And Kushida now is the new Cruiserweight champion. Santos will forever be daddy. He will forever be Bay, and he will forever be my Cruiserweight champion, and I hope to one day call him my NXT World Champion. But for now, respectfully, I got to give him this low shot just so we can get through it. This is ripping off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So, who's your low shot?
It's Killian Dane, because he lost and then got jumped.
You know what? That's perfect. Great job, friend. All right.
Oh, yeah, and plus he's boring. I forgot to mention that part. That's probably the most important part of being a low shot.
Yes, that's very true. All right. The high spot, you know what? I had a great time with this episode. Fuck it. My high spot's Indy Hartwell. She literally got carried away by her man. Like,
she got
pretty great night for
swept
fucking
off
Indy.
her feet, except she wasn't on her feet, so she got swept off her back.
Exactly. Like, yeah, great night for Indy fucking Hartwell. She's my high spot. Why? Because it's TWitWoW, bitches, and we do what we want. Who's your high spot?
My high spot is going to actually go to Kushida for winning the Cruiserweight title. Congrats, man.
Absolutely. Hope he has a great reign and he continues on the work that Escobar put into the title. And, yeah, with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my core and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe. Click the bell icon down below so that you can keep up with all that TWitWoW goodness. Be sure to also comment down below. Talk to us. My question is, you know what? A bit of a far-reaching question, but who do you ultimately think is going to beat Kushida for that Cruiserweight Championship? Because this isn't the same Kushida. This isn't New Japan Kushida. He does seem more vulnerable. Do we think that Pete Dunne's going to beat him for a relatively short reign? Do we think that Dumpster Fire Devlin is going to beat him for it? You know, who do you have in mind to be the next Cruiserweight Champion? Or is it somebody that we haven't even seen yet? That could also be a possibility. Also, talk to us about the women's division. How do you feel about the Raquel Gonzalez era, particularly in terms of its contenders? People that will be vying for Raquel's NXT Women's Championship. So, again, comment down below. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Want to plug the Patreon. The two tiers specifically I want to talk about. For $1, you can get two additional Q&A questions. Q&A is going to be, let's see when it is this month. I think it's 29th. Yes, April 29th. It's last Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Non-Patreon owners have 3 Q&A questions. If you donate $1, you get 2 additional, so that would make it 5 Q&A questions. Of course, if I were you, I would just donate $3 because then you get your additional Q&A questions and you also get access to the TWitWoW Discord server. A lot of great conversations coming out of WrestleMania week. Kind of looking at the future, unpacking what we liked, unpacking what we didn't like. We also have Among Us Mondays. We didn't do it this past Monday because we did a live reaction to the post-Mania Raw. But every Monday, usually, we do Among Us. It's a really fun time. So, again, $3 gets you the 2 additional Q&A questions and that Discord access for Among Us Mondays. Follow us both on Twitter. My pinned tweet is collecting Q&A questions. You can find me at John_TWitWoW. As I said, with Q&A, 5 Q&A questions if you donate $1. If you're a non-Patreon owner, you only get 3. Submit them YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. With Twitter, my pinned tweet is your best bet. When you follow Ashton on Twitter at Ashton_TWitWoW, his pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month that we're in. We're currently practically in the middle of April. And, what we've got coming up for you for the rest of this week, really not much. Because Wednesday, it's blank now that NXT has moved to Tuesdays, which I think is wonderful. I can really get used to this. So it's just open day. You guys can enjoy it. Then Thursday, we're back with content, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're coming at you with 5 Fave 5s. A lot of fun. My favorite commentary that we do. I love just sitting back with my boy here and talking about the acts that we love in pro wrestling right now. And yes, I said all of pro wrestling because we cover WWE, NXT, New Japan, Stardom, and other promotions. It's going to be a really fun time. Then Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we are doing another Twitch stream, this time for the post-WrestleMania 37 SmackDown show. Definitely going to be some developments with the Universal title. If Twitter's any indication, you'll get all of our reactions to those developments on Twitch. Be sure to join us there. I know, but we're going to have to grin and bear it. It's definitely coming. And then the weekend is just an open weekend. We got nothing going on this weekend, so we can all just chill and enjoy the weekend. So again, guys, most immediately, you can join us Thursday at 5 for 5 Fave 5s. And until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Enjoy all that quality wrestling that you can. And until we see each other again, tune in. Peace out.